you ever wondered what the line in the holiday song, "The Most Wonderful Time of the Year" means? This is the line. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. What exactly is a scary Christmas story? You might want to ask that. Well, I'm here today to explain to you what it could be. So I'm not sure, but there's a big hint in case you were wondering. The title of the talk is Your Christmas Carol, the story of it. And the scary ghost story perhaps means that there's something in there that can be frightening. And so we're going to move into what the ghosts of the future, the ghosts of the past and the ghosts of the present could mean in our lives. And you might be able to relate to this as I tell the story. It's story time. So these kinds of ghosts can rob this present moment of their holiday cheer. And we're not going to let them do that. More importantly, we're going to learn how to not do that if we don't know already. I'm certain that most of you are familiar with that story, having read the book, the movies, and theatrical productions. There's so many different parts of it, but it's like ingrained in us, I think. And for those of you that haven't seen it recently, I have a brief refresher. Ebenezer Scrooge was a miserly, miserable fellow. He was miserly, he was mean and devoid of any compassion, warmth, or humor. The Christmas season for him was a major inconvenience. What it did was it messed with his business, and it was filled with nothing but nonsense. As the story begins, it is Christmas Eve, and after being dreadful to everyone, especially his hard-working, underpaid, and dedicated clerk, Bob Cratchit, he went home. As he was warming himself by the fire, he hears these haunting noises, and suddenly he is visited by the ghost of his dead partner, Jacob Marley. Jacob tells Scrooge that he has come to him to give him a warning, to warn him to change his miserly ways before it's too late. Marley says, now the chains that he drags along were created by the choices that he made while he was alive. The choices he made to be miserly and miserable. And he said it was through his own free will that he made those choices. And that Scrooge was making the same choices. But he still had time to change. A little bit of new thought in there. We didn't know that about Charles Dickens. And so, as the story goes, Scrooge is visited in his dreams by three ghosts. The ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and the ghost of Christmases yet to be. In this context of Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, let us this morning take a look at our own Christmas Carol and see how the ghost of your Christmas past and of your Christmas yet to be can affect your present Christmas. So the past. When Ebenezer travels to his past, we learn that he had a lonely and unhappy childhood. His oldest sister was the one that he really felt connected to and loved. She was removed from her home his home, when she died after giving birth to her son. And we see that while he had some really good influences as a young adult, he also had some not good influences. And we see how he let his love of money mean more to him than his love of his own wife. He was married. We don't see much of her. And there's a reason why. He was miserly. He was miserable. That's why his wife left. Okay. The ghost of Christmas past takes us to some pretty painful places in his past. And it takes him there, and he really doesn't want to visit all of that. But he's taken there anyway, and we see how he has evolved into the person that he had came to be. If we were to do a similar review of our past, I suspect that we too might visit some dreadful places that we prefer not to visit. And we would see that we might have had some positive influence as well as some negative ones along the way. And we will see how all these influences and experiences combine form us into who we are today. But unlike Ebenezer, who was taken back to and then out of his past rather quickly, some of us, not we've learned how, but some of us remain in that past. We just hang out in there, and that becomes the story for our present. We get stuck. Or more accurately, we bring forward into our present lots and lots of stuff, pain, wounds, all of that stuff, that affects our present, the quality of how we live our lives today. And we talked about something very important not last Sunday, 2 Sundays ago, and that was we must forgive and how to forgive. Forgiveness is always the bottom line. You can't get around it. My definition of forgiveness is releasing the demand that anyone or anything be other than it was, because it's not going to be. It is what it is, as I always say. It is what it is. It's what you choose to do with it. One way you know if you've forgiven is when that person or event can walk through your mind unharmed. Then we know, forgiveness has taken place. Forgive others for their mistake, yes, but often it means forgiving ourselves for our mistakes as well. Sometimes we forget about that part. I know when I was doing all my forgiveness work, like in the 80s or 90s, and probably most of my life, when I wasn't in the story, but I got so sick of it, when my family got so sick of the story, actually, that it needed to be changed. And I knew it was changed when I could tell that story and not have any emotion around it. It's just a story. It doesn't define the who I am today. So, forgiving ourselves, and that's the thing. And I've said this before, we play the story over and over again in our heads, and so we are self-abusing. And that's what we're forgiving ourselves for playing the event that took place maybe 40, 50, 30, 60, whatever years ago, and we're still playing it today. We forgive ourselves for that and let it go, so that we can have the brilliance of a new opportunity to live our lives in peace and joy. Ernest Holmes tells us in Science of Mind on page 290, suppose someone says, I have made a lot of mistakes in my life. I had opportunities that I did not grasp. Anyone feel that way? So many opportunities that came along and you're like, no, that's fine, I'll pass. And then you look back now and you go, what an idiot. You know, that was a great opportunity. That was a great opportunity. Anyway, I'm sure most of us have had that feeling every once in a while, but this is back to homes. This is a direct belief that there is but one opportunity which comes to us, and if we do not take it, we will not have any more. This is a belief in limited opportunities, and it must be denied completely and specifically. He says, it is not that we have made no mistakes, but in the belief in the necessity of mistakes stays in the consciousness. When then there is bound to be repetition. It is scientific practice to declare that there have been no mistakes in our consciousness, that if there have been, they are now wiped out. There are none in the divine plan, and there is no plan for us other than the divine plan. If we have had and apparently lost many opportunities, we must be shown that we stand at the point of limitless opportunities, he says. That opportunity is right here today, that we see and grasp it. It recognizes us as we recognize it. We exist in limitless opportunities which are forever seeking expression through us. Love on his homes. You gotta love it. It's so true. Infinite, we know this. Infinite potential, infinite possibilities are always present in this field of life itself, of all that is. That's a great passage, and I particularly like, it is a scientific practice to declare that there have been no mistakes in our consciousness, that if there had been, they are now wiped out. There are none in the divine plan, and there is no plan for us other than the divine plan. And what is the divine plan, you're thinking? Is this all planned out? No, we get to choose. This is the divine plan for our lives, is anything that promotes love and life, anything that promotes the good. Because if we didn't realize this before, we really enslaved ourselves with regret, remorse, and guilt. You name it. And that is the way a lot of people are still living their life. In regret, in remorse, feeling guilty. Get over it, is what I have to say. I say that to myself. Because you know, you have to sit yourself down and have a good talk with yourself. Because you really do. Sometimes you don't listen. That's what I say to myself. Whatever is in your past, whatever you have done, and you keep throwing it in your face, you need to know that Spirit is present and wants you to know that you are so loved and you are never judged. Divine Mind does not judge us ever and will never judge us. It just loves us unconditionally. So there is no need to forgive. So how long are you going to enslave yourself? Forgiveness, the key to releasing the grip of the ghosts of Christmas past that is keeping you from experiencing the joy of today. We can make it joyful no matter what the circumstances. There are so many things. If you even look at the news, never mind watching it, I wouldn't do that to myself. But I mean, there's so many avenues we can travel down. Oh my God, oh. Don't do that to yourself. Just don't. Just know that you get to choose how you want to show up in life, no matter what. And no matter what means exactly that. No matter what. Brings us to the future. What about the grip that the ghost of Christmas is yet to be? has on us. It can keep us very disconnected from the gift of the present. After viewing his future, which he really didn't care much for, Scrooge asks the ghost of the Christmas yet to be a very important question. He said, "Please tell me, are these things I've seen shadows of things that must be, or shadow of things that might be?" Because isn't it true that deeds are changed, conditions will be changed as well. Our thoughts are changed, the outcome will change for us. That is guaranteed. You can take that to the bank and deposit it, because that is guaranteed. And that's why Ernest Holmes said, change your thinking, change your life. And it really means that. Change what you think, what you say, what you do, if you want a different outcome. We would change one word in Ernest Holmes and say, because isn't it true that if consciousness is changed, conditions will be changed as well? And of course, well, we all know that consciousness is everything, right? We all know this. Do we know this?
Yes.
Consciousness is everything. Science is proving it. Everything is consciousness. No way around it. They can't prove what exactly it is, but they're proving it. And of course, we all know the story of the future, that Scrooge saw reflected shadows of things that might be. And he did not become, because he changed the present. He changed what he was thinking in that moment. We can't control future, but we can affect the future. We can affect the outcome. Sometimes things are just happening, but we can affect how we respond, and we can affect what we want in our lives. So many people spend their lives saying words to the effect of, what am I going to do if? And that's the worst outcome, if. What am I going to do if this happens, if that happens? Well, if they would quit saying the word if, it probably won't even happen. But the more we focus, or what we resist persists. So the more we say what we don't want, the more we're going to repeat that pattern and experience it. You want to create a fabulous future, I'm sure. Ernest Holmes gives us some great counsel. This is in Science of Mind on page 246. He says we must not fear the future. And then he suggests that we say to ourselves, I see that the future is bright with promise. It beckons me forward into a more complete realization of my own worth and my rightful place in the universe. All my tomorrows are happy and filled with harmonious occupations. I look to the future with great pleasure, anticipation, knowing it expands my opportunity for radiant self-expression. I love my past, this is still Holmes, and my future, and understand that they are but continuations of the one unbroken chain of life. There is no future to be afraid of, no past to be feared, and bring discord into the present. Remember that in the universe, in the true consciousness, the infinite consciousness of all that is or never will be, there is no time and space. We just have to have it in our human condition. I mean, we need time and space. Never make appointments. Nobody would be here. Musicians wouldn't be here. So we actually, it's a tool for us. But in the universal energy, there is no time. There is no space. It's multidimensional. Present. Let's bring us to the present. The only time there truly is. But for Scrooge, Scrooge looks into the present and sees into the life of the Cratchit family. A family that has almost almost nothing except for one thing, and that is love. They have material things, but they have love. Remember, as you embark on the next few days, what, the 10 days before Christmas, the only thing that really matters is that love. And everything else flows from that gift. And this is from, I have a quote from a book, Love Without End by Glenda Green. She says, God is the source of all love. I am love, and you are love as well. In that respect, we bear the same name. Insofar as anyone fully becomes love, and that he, she is, then there is conscious oneness with God. And we call this conscious energy God, just for lack of a better word. It's all God. It's all good, and it's all us. We are God. And when we know this, we live in the present in this love, and know that right where we are is the best possible place to be. Every place, every day, every moment, you are in your right place. Even stuck, oh, this is good. This is good for me anyway. Maybe some of you can relate to this. Even stuck in that holiday traffic. Or standing in the cash register with 20 people in front of you. It's all God. It's all good. Remember that. I gotta remember that. Especially in the traffic. It's all good. I was practicing it on my way here. The guy in front of me almost got in an accident, but I said, it's all good. It's all good. Almost doesn't count. So, anyway, I'm practicing it. Still, I think I will for the rest of my life, so don't get discouraged. So, this present moment is the very best place to be to do your growing work, because that's what it is. The human realm is a growing planet, and we're here to do our work on ourselves if we choose. Many people don't choose. And it's because we release our in-prison splendor that we have, and to ready ourselves for even more good. Good and more good is ours all of the time. There is no past, no future in the eternal now of infinite mind. There is only now, and this now is really a holy time. It's a sacred time. It's a time for our divine work. The omnipresence of God's love is everywhere. It's omnipresent. So God is you and everyone around you. Might not look that way. Might not look that way. But if we believe this, that's the ultimate truth. You know, sometimes we can have a little mind temper tantrum and judgment thing, and that's okay. We are humans. But we don't want to stay there. We want to return to, this is all good, this is all God. No matter what, I will do my best to move forward and experience a fulfilling life. Our joy can be boundless. We can truly feel the peace and the love and the light of this holiday season if we continuously check ourselves when we fall off of that kind of thinking, which we will. We will, but we bring ourselves back. Eric Butterworth, great New Thought teacher, once wrote, "Let the past remain the past. Let the future come to you as it will. Possess life now and live each day as it comes, serenely, joyously, comfortably, and with faith in the present, and the power and love of God expressed in and through and as you. Learn to do this," he says, "and you will find that you will be a new person." And he continues, "Learn to do this, and you will find Oh no, he doesn't. I'm continuing. Sorry. That was the end of the quote. Learn to do this. This is me. And you will find your Christmas carol turns into just as joyously as Ebenezer Scrooge's did. If you remember, he had a happy Christmas. Learn to do this, and every day of the year will be the season of good cheer to you. Every day of the year. I want to end the talk today with a treatment directly from Ernest Holmes in his book, Science of Mind, and it's a treatment for peace. So I want you to listen to this. Just take it in. I am filled with wonderful peace and light. There is no uncertainty about my future and no fear as a result of my past. I live in an eternal now which is filled with good alone. Goodness and beauty follow me. Peace and joy accompany me. Happiness and wholeness fill my entire being with the realization of love and perfection. I am the Christ, the Son of the living God within me. The inner mind of mine is now divine and complete. It has no worries and no fears. It is whole, complete, and satisfied. I look back over all previous experience and find it was good, very good. I look toward the future and find it is good and very good. I look at the present and find that it is also good and very good. God is in all, over all, and through all. So for all of us to remember to keep ourselves as focused as we can on the good that we truly are, we will find out when these bodies are dissolved, which they will be, and we will find out that the truth of who we are beings of light. And may that bring us peace. May that bring us joy, because it sure brings me love and peace. I say to all of you, happy almost Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, or if you're an atheist, happy life. And so it is.